Who is John Conroy? What makes you tick?
Loaded question from the start. I don't know. I just think as I age, I kind of know I'm a positive person. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but I don't do well sitting idle. And I wake up every day trying to get something done. And my energy level is kind of high, and I don't put a lot of pressure on myself anymore. And growing up, I put a lot of pressure, not to be perfect, but do this, do that. And then after a while, I thought, you know what, just gotta be comfortable in your skin and figure out what works for you, and you'll be happier. And having people happy is one thing, but you gotta be happy first. And I didn't do that in the beginning of my life. Really, part of my career is like, you know, really want to be liked by everybody, and that gets old. You know, that's not a successful or happy life. You know, so take care of yourself first without being selfish is important. I definitely balance that out. I try to meditate. It's hard for me because I'm a little hyper, but I've learned that it really helps, breathing techniques and just mellowing out, and especially fear. And the new kids' fear is so crippling. If you break down the letters F-E-A-R, it's false emotions appearing real. I mean, even like this interview, it's like oh my gosh, people get hyped up. I'm like, you're gonna sit down and talk to somebody. What are you afraid of? You know, this isn't fear. It is. So it's a false emotion. I'm not sat down here yet. I'm downstairs waiting for you to tell me when to come up. You know, it's a little adrenaline. I call it adrenaline. It's not fear. I mean, if you didn't have adrenaline, you'd be dead.
Ten years ago, I interviewed 100 fascinating people and documented their stories in a 2-volume book series. Today, my journey continues. I'll be engaging with captivating guests, having candid, meaningful, and uncensored discussion as I aim to reveal the passion that comes from within, unlocking the mysteries needed to make purposeful change. My objective is to be a connector and enlighten listeners through stories of struggle and success, heartache and inspiration, offering solutions to challenges we face each and every day. This is a broadcast of real people, real stories, and real conversation. Everyone has a story. My job is to ensure their stories are told. My name is Roger Brooks. Inspired by Brian Rose of London Reel and the London Reel Academy and the Broadcast Yourself Accelerator course, I now bring you American Real. Welcome to our 5th episode of American Real, where this week our guest is John Conroy, professional model and photographer who has spent his entire career building a portfolio that's as impressive as they come. From being on the cover of Men's Health to working for top brands such as Calvin Klein, Versace, and Ralph Lauren, John is a consummate model whose face you've likely seen on the cover of a magazine, inside a catalog, or even greeting you in a Vegas casino as Thor's hammer or Jupiter, 2 popular slot machines. John continues to thrive as a model, but has also perfected the art of photography, taking brilliant photos for top celebrities as well as up-and-coming models. I learned a great deal from John about his craft, and I'm looking forward to sharing his incredible story with you today. Please share this episode with your friends, like us on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe to the American Real YouTube channel. I'd like to thank our partners and sponsors, especially Happy Socks, turning an everyday essential into a colorful design item. I'll be wearing Happy Socks each and every episode. And now, without further ado, I bring to you Mr. John Conroy.
Welcome to American Real,
I'm Roger Brooks, and my very special guest this week is John Conroy. John, welcome to American Real.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Hey, you've come in all the way from Austin. You haven't been to Binghamton in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like to come back?
It's great to come back. I mean, I was raised here, my family's here, so every time I come back, it's a whole new landscape. And it's fun to go back where I grew up and to see what's changed and what's not there and what's built up. And it's fun. It's great to see.
That's awesome. Who is John Conroy? What makes you tick?
Loaded question from the start. I don't know. I just think as I age, I kind of know I'm a positive person. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but I don't do well sitting idle. And I wake up every day trying to get something done, and my energy level is kind of high, and I don't put a lot of pressure on myself anymore. And growing up, I put a lot of pressure, not to be perfect, but do this, do that. And then after a while, I thought, you know what, just gotta be comfortable in your skin and figure out what works for you, and you'll be happier. And it's, yeah. But I'm very happy. I like making other people happy. I put other people first, and that could be a fault too. And I've learned to balance that out.
Okay.
And not worrying about what everybody thinks, because balancing things out, having people happy is one thing, but you got to be happy first. And I didn't do that in the beginning of my life. Early part of my career, it's like, whether you want to be liked by everybody, and that gets old. That's not a successful or happy life. So taking care of yourself first without being selfish is important. I definitely balance that out.
Sure. One of the buzzwords today that I hear frequently is elevate your peer group. Mm-hmm. Spend time with people that not only you care about, but people that care about you. Is that something you've learned to do as well?
Oh yeah. I mean, and it sounds cliche, but I really got rid of a lot of negative people in my life, and I'm in a great industry. I love it. I'm happy to be in it. And toxic people, they drain you. And I'm from a great family, very positive upbringing, and wake up each day happy, see what you can accomplish. And I've been around a lot of people who I try to help, but then when they start taking your energy away, and you can feel it. It's a void. It's just, you can feel the pressure and coming out of your body. And I thought, I don't mind being there for you, but after a while, I'm done. I got to be around happy. It sounds like be around happy rainbows every day. That's not life. That's not reality. But it does bring forth a more happy life when you do surround yourself with happy people. Right. And it takes a while to get there. You don't want to sound like, if you're negative on that's not a reality either.
Sure.
But definitely
has to be a balance.
Yeah, and I've learned to definitely feel that out, and I give people chances. And I have bad days too, but it doesn't last very long. A couple days and I'm good. If I'm in a bad mood, kind of bounce right back, because nobody wants to hear it.
Right.
Or be around it.
So true. So look, you've literally grown up in an industry that is really quite remarkable if you think about where it's gone from, say, 30, 40, 50 years ago from where it is today.
Oh my God.
But reality is it has a stigma attached to it.
Sure.
I'm sure you know all about this. And so curious how you have attempted to elevate your career, and you've been very successful doing that, and playing in this space, and just your general thoughts on the modeling industry, the fashion industry, and now you're on the other side of it, taking the actual photographs, so that side of it as well.
Right. I mean, it's a totally different ballgame. When I started, I'm not a big fashion guy. I mean, I grew up in Binghamton, love it here. And our anchor store at the mall was Montgomery Ward's. I mean, I didn't know Versace and even Polo or the names, which is fine because that's not really why I got into business. I'm a jeans and t-shirt guy, and that's what I'm comfortable in. But the industry as a whole, it started off. I mean, I don't want to bore you too much, but we literally pounded the pavement. I knocked on doors every day, showing my portfolio in New York City to get work. And now it's all automated. You have a website with your agency. You would have a profile. You have probably 20 to 30 pictures from your portfolio. They just email your pictures out and say, hey, here's John, here's Susie, and what do you think of them? And if they like you, they'll call you in to make sure that you're the real person behind this, perfectly modified photograph. Right. Before, we were like, hi, I'm John, here's my portfolio, and I'm soaking wet from walking the streets of Manhattan with a broken umbrella. I'm like, see, and they're looking at my portfolio, looking at me going, Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah,
Right.
so it's definitely changed that aspect. It's still, I mean, there's still the negative side. I mean, there's still people take advantage of people, and it's easier now because websites kind of clarify who's legit, who's not. And when I started, I literally saw the phone book and listed the agencies in Manhattan, whether it's Ford, Wilhelmina, Elite, all the top agencies. And you would mail a picture in or knock on their door, open call they call it, from 3 to 4, the first week of every month.
Open call.
Yeah, and you're with hundreds of people in this lobby, and sometimes you didn't get seen. They're like, okay, we saw enough. It's 4 o'clock. Door's shut. You're out.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Cutthroat.
Oh yeah. And or you submit your picture, and I hate to say it, 9 times out of 10 they're not opening that mail. Sorry, they weren't. So showing up, being in person, really is what and how I did it. So kids now, they can just submit a picture to any website and say, hi, here's my photographs, and it does work. And they call you back and say, come on in, and then from there the ball gets rolling. But it's a whole automated world.
Yeah, no,
like everything.
I'm sure, and I could just see that pounding the pavement like you did.
Literally.
Literally pounding the pavement.
Yes.
But that made you into the person you are today.
I believe so. Actually, I know so. Yeah. I mean, I got signed with top agencies from the get-go. I've been very fortunate, but signing with an agency doesn't guarantee your paycheck. I'm unemployed every day. So the good thing about being with the top agency is they're getting you the top clients, but you're going against cream of the crop people in New York City. But at least you're getting in that door, and that's why your portfolio's got to be amazing, and you go in and see them. And but I would go on 10, 12 appointments a day.
Wow.
A day.
Full-time job.
Oh yeah, and you're exhausted, and power of percentages, you're going to land one hopefully, but I go 2 weeks, and it sounds like this old story, like, I walked 100 miles in the snow from school, blah, 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 but I would have blisters and, sores on my feet from walking. That's a true story. And, but, luckily I'd score some and you lose some, and that's part of the game.
Sure.
I made a game out of it. It's like, I came from an athletic background, I'm not terribly competitive, which is weird. I mean, I am. My sister's probably going to think I'm telling a big lie. Board games at home.
Sure.
What do you mean you're not competitive? I like to win. Who doesn't? But I'm actually a really good loser. So the rejection in this industry is much higher than the exception. So, for you to land a job is great. It's euphoric. Oh my God, I got this job. You're unemployed the next day. Next day I'm okay. That job is great. How am I paying my rent now?
Right.
So I'm a gracious loser, and I've lost a lot, and that's what's built my character because I lose well. I don't take it personally. It's hard to in the beginning. As a good agent told me once, it's like someone buying a car. If you go into the parking lot of a car dealership, in your mind if you like a red one, a yellow one, a blue one. So you see a lot of every color of car, but in your mind you're like, I'm buying the red one.
Right.
So the yellow one's saying pick me, and the blue one pick me. You're like, I'm still gonna get the red one. So even though I go on castings, those casting directors know who they're going to book unless someone's going to blow their socks off and change their mind. So if I go in, I got black hair, well, more gray now, but and brown eyes, I'm not the blonde hair, blue-eyed guy. So if they know they're going to pick him,
right,
it is what it is. So I've always looked at it as a business, and I think that's helped me. It's definitely been an asset because, it's where I went to college for. Even we laughed about, working at McDonald's. I learned so much about working at McDonald's, I can't tell you. And other friends of mine that worked there, we tell a joke about it. It's like, I learned so much about working with people, working with speed, working about efficiency, and working about organizational skills. And go figure.
How old were you when you started at McDonald's?
Actually, I applied for the job when I was 15, and you can't work till you're 16. And I got hired on my birthday, July 2nd, and started working. And I did it for a couple years, but it was a great time. I went to, I worked with everybody from high school, and we had a ball. It was a blast. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was learning economics and, LIFO, FIFO systems and, education that I didn't even know I was getting at the time. It's like a high school job, and you're goofing off, having fun, but
learning at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Take it with me every day. It's weird.
So take us through the hierarchy of the industry, if you will. How does that work with agents and bookings and,
Okay.
What does that look like for someone?
Back when I started or now? Was this totally different?
Back when you started.
When I started, there was literally 5 or 6 agents sitting around a round table with a lazy Susan with folders with, here's Roger, here's John, and it would have our chart. your schedule for the month. They'd spin the lazy Susan when the client would call in and say, I want to book John for Ralph Lauren. They'd mark it on a chart. You go see Ralph Lauren. It was all pencil, paper, and they would call. Back then, we didn't have pagers. You called in the morning, you called in the afternoon. I mean, it sounds like caveman time, but I'm like, sure. That's how I've been doing it. So I lived in New York City. I would call in, you check in every day. Hi, any appointments? And they would call them go-sees. A go-see is you go see the client. And it's somebody who's interested in seeing your look. And they're different from castings. A casting is actual casting for a job. So a casting for a job is like, okay, Ralph Lauren or Men's Health is casting for the cover or a TV commercial. And then you would go on that. And then there's also a request, meaning we see everybody in your lineup, but we want boom, boom, boom to show up. So they already have an idea who they're picking, which I love, because if they don't like me, why am I going to show up and waste my time showing my portfolio? And we would call that getting fanned. So you bring your portfolio in, and you can tell if you know the job because they go through your book so fast. You got fanned by it. I'm like, what am I doing? You're not getting the job. So we're like, did you get fanned? I'm like, yeah, me too.
Right.
So you would call in the morning, get your chart for the day, and they might say, okay, there's 10 castings going on, and you're riding subways from the east side to the west side, all over the place. And again, you look like hell. You're sweaty, you're running around, and you're like, I hope they're looking at my portfolio, not me right now, because I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. So that's how we did it. And then you check in at the end of the day and call in. I used to use the phone booth at Grand Central Station. That was my go-to. It was a clean place. It was midtown. I lived on the Upper East Side, so it was halfway between all my agencies that were downtown. And you'd call and say, and it was like playing the lotto. It's like, did I get anything? Did it work today? It's not for the weak of heart. And I look back.
And this is every day.
Every day.
So in some ways, was every no a little bit of a boost in knowing that you were that much closer to a yes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy. If I was getting no's, I'd say I'm out of here and this
Sure.
isn't working for me. Even though you're signed by a good agency, and in good agencies today, they drop you. 3-4 months. If you're not working, they'll say, it's been great having you. You're awesome, but it's not working for you. And that happened to me in a market, and it changes every year. I mean, I used to go to Miami all the time when I was in New York. I'd go down for season, and I was fit and tan, and I'd go down there, and I used to do a lot of that kind of work. And in my wildest, thinking I'm going to recreate that, about 8 years ago, I went down there. I moved there as a photographer and as a model, thinking, I'm going to recreate my jobs that I used to get. I couldn't get arrested. And I looked around at the kids at the casting, and I say kids, literally. I looked around, I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm a man in my 40s, and these kids are all 30s, 20s, and it's a younger market. But if I had started there, I would have quit, because I thought, wow, this is what modeling is. What am I doing here? I'm an old man. And I looked around saying, wow. So I talked to my agency. They were fantastic. And there comes a respect the longer you've done it. They don't want to embarrass you, but they're like, we love you, but we're getting castings for beer commercials or spring break, and I'm in my late 40s. I'm not that guy, but in my mind I'm thinking, no, I'm in shape. I'm going with the kids. And it was a wake-up call. And rather than being dropped, they just said, it's time to get new pictures. It's time to go to the next level. And but again, if I had started there in my career, I would have said, yeah, it's a young man's market. I'm out of here. And it's not. It depends on what city you're working in and what agents you're with. And I have a whole second part of my career that's been incredible, but it's all being in the right market, the right agencies.
Right. So why does the industry have such a bad rap? And let's talk about
No, it does. I mean, what's funny, Roger, I started, and when I started, there was like 7 good agencies in New York City, and people in my industry will know. They were like the top names. And what happened is greed is a bad thing, whether it's modeling, corporate banking, it's greed. And what happened is a lot of the bookers or agents started opening up their own agencies and saying, hey, I'm going to take the top girl that I'm booking all the time, or the top guy, I'm going to take them away from the agency that I was working for and take a less commission. And so all these mom and pop little, agencies started opening up in New York with 2 major models with the agency, and building it up. But that's negative. But that's drawn by greed, and it's corporate America.
Right.
But in some aspect. But the negative is the people who aren't so nice, who take advantage of the kids. Like, you want to shoot a portfolio with me? It's $1,000, and a portfolio isn't one photo shoot. I mean, I'm still building my portfolio. I've been doing this for 30 years. It's an ongoing thing. So
Sure.
for someone to say, I'm going to shoot your portfolio and charge all this money, and and the poor kid doesn't have a chance to make it in the industry, it's like, God bless you for sleeping at night. I don't know how you do it. But it's changed a lot now because of the internet. I always say if a photographer doesn't have a website and legit referrals, shame on you for going and spending $2,000. But I also know that people don't like hearing no.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said no to a lot of people. And like, here's my daughter, here's little Johnny, here's little Susie. I'm like, I don't make up the rules. I'll just tell you how it works. And your kid's not going to make it. I don't make up the mathematics. It's like, you got to be a certain height. You've got to be a certain measurement. And I'm painfully honest with them because I don't want to, I sleep great at night. So, and there's people out there that will take the money. And like I said, people don't like to hear no. And they'll say, oh no, but this person said no, I shouldn't shoot with them, but this guy's ready to take my money. And it's an interesting thing. And that's been going on forever. And there's the drug factor, and there's the sleazy photographer who wants to sleep with the model, and that happens in every industry.
Sure,
And I defend that. I've been in it. You find the good no matter what. The cream rises at the top, and I'm connected with agencies from Milan to Boston, and it's a tight group. We all know who we are, and we all know who the bad people are. And you can't,
You stay away.
Yeah, and the bad surfaces, and people will get taken advantage of all the time, but I think it's changed a lot because of technology. You can see who the trolls are and who the bad people are, and but greed comes into play with the agencies because they figured, the top agency hired me and I'm doing all the work, getting John all the work, so I'm only getting XYZ. I'm leaving and taking him with me and starting my new mom and pop shop agency, and that happened like when I started. There was probably 8 agencies. Now there's probably 80 in New York.
Wow.
And that's just New York.
Very competitive.
Not counting, but they always say not 10% of the models get 90% of the work.
Wow.
So if you look at that wall, all the kids on the wall, when I say wall, you go into a modeling agency and the photographs are up on the wall. And you think, wow, how are they all working? I mean, they're all beautiful women, they're all beautiful men with the top agencies, but it's a roll of the dice. It's not for the weak of heart. I can't believe I've stayed it as long as I have. Right. I say I'm not competitive, well, maybe I am.
Right. I think you are.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, talk about, now you're on the other side of things for the most part. You're still doing modeling.
Yeah, I'm represented across the country, and it's, I'm 53, I'm happy to say that, and it's, you go through, when I started, I was in my early 20s, and you're a dime a dozen. Mm-hmm. And I'd look up on the modeling agency walls, and we all looked alike, same body, same thing, and it's kind of like throwing it out, and whoever sticks is going to get the job. And then in my 30s and 40s, it kind of, weeded out a little bit. You're not the young guy. They don't know where to put you. Mm-hmm. I'm not old enough to look like I'm driving the Mercedes for a commercial or staying at the Ritz-Carlton hotel, because I'm like, I can't afford that. My look looks like I'm still on spring break. So it's a transition, and it's hard because you can say, okay, I'm done, but I always worked. I mean, I always say I was never in, but I was never out. Like I wasn't like the new flavor Calvin Klein guy or this, the high fashion campaign guy. I've always worked. I've always done catalog, in which is consistency. But as I got older, a little more gray. I've always stayed in shape. I mean, that you can't control a lot of the industry. I can control what I put in my mouth, right. And I can control that. And now, late 40s, I felt this new wave coming in. I'm like, wow, and there's less competition for those jobs. It's like, okay, in my 20s and 30s, there's 200 people in line for a job. I'm like, wow, how am I going to get this? And
But now you're landing more.
Yeah.
Higher percentage of jobs.
Because it's I mean, I like to think I look good, but it's
you
power.
Work hard at it.
Yeah, it's power. No, it's power in numbers too. It's like there's less competition, and I actually want more gray because the more gray I get, there's more opportunity for higher end jobs for the high end resorts and the drug companies right now. I mean, that's big money. They want people to look a little bit older, and I show up for jobs and like, we wish you had more salt and pepper because clients are going to believe that you're that guy. So
what are some of the larger names that we may know of that you've modeled for?
Gosh, it's been 30 years of work, and as far as, very happy. I got the cover Men's Health, American cover, and then it went European. I was probably on 8 or 9 covers internationally from that shoot.
Wow.
And that was a big thing for me. And the male models, and everybody knows that it's kind of like the Cosmo for the women.
Sure.
If you get that cover, it's like, okay, I got that. but I worked for Neiman Marcus, Calvin Klein, Gianni Versace. I lived in Milan. I lived in Greece. I've been very fortunate. I've lived all over the place. So, and catalog work, Hager, JCPenney, Land's End. I mean, I've done quite a bit. Yeah, but it's over. It's not like in a year. I've done this over
Sure.
a span of a long time. So
Sure.
yeah.
So when you're in the thick of it, is it somewhat? Can you compare it to a sport as far as the competitiveness? I mean,
yeah.
I want that job. I want Men's Health.
Yeah.
I want Calvin Klein.
Most guys want. I mean, you also got to be realistic. I mean, again, I know what I look like. I know my coloring. Ralph Lauren usually looks very waspy, blonde hair, blue-eyed guys. They do. I mean, very rarely do you see my type there.
So you wouldn't push so hard.
I'd love to. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't turn it down. It'd be incredible. Right. But I'm a marketing guy. I'm a business guy, and that's what I went to college for. So I get the business. I get marketing. I get branding. So and I'm realistic with what I look like. That's why these guys who don't get every job, like I didn't get that. I'm like, well, look at who got it. They're more sellable. They're more marketable for that job. So, but Men's Health, sorry, across the board, everybody wants it.
Yep.
And real quick story about that. I shot for it first when I was 26, and back then we didn't have digital. They took Polaroids of you with your shirt off, Polaroid camera, and I said okay. And they look at all the guys and they said, okay, we like you, we like this guy, and they say, diet your brains off and come back in a month, and it's weeded down to like 4 of us, and I did. I'm like, not looking at a piece of bread, no pizza. And in New York, that's tough because I get a slice on every corner. Right. I love to eat, which is tough for this industry because I love to cook, I love to eat. So, I really knocked it out and got it. And they looked at him and they said, great, you got approved to be the cover of Men's Health. No. So I show up for the cover. I'm thinking it's all about me. I finally worked hard, 3 months of dieting. I'm ready to go. And I see this one guy show up, and he's an Adonis. Came in from California. Surfer body, just shredded, and I'm in New York. They brought him in. I'm like, what's he doing here? This is my cover. So they shot both of us tandem back and forth, and this is back in, I was 26. So they said we're going to rotate back and forth, and he clearly, I'm not an idiot. He was a specimen. He looked incredible. I looked good, but I knew in my mind, he's got this. So sure enough, they said it's going to come out in a couple months, we'll let you know. And sure enough, January 1st cover, I see him on the cover. I'm like, okay, he got that. And they said, well, your cover might come out. Never came out. So you do the dieting, you do it all, and you're shooting for them. They pay you, but it doesn't run. And I got to tell you, it was crushing. You're thinking, wow, you worked so hard. And that was it. But you pick it up, you get out there, and it's not for everybody. A lot of guys would have quit.
Sure.
Because I'm done. You didn't like me? Well, screw you. I'm out of here. And I feel that. It's hard, but you dig deep and go, okay, I wasted 2 or 3 months of my life to get there. You shot me, you paid me, but and in my mind, I'm thinking, why didn't it run somewhere else? It could have run in another country because they shoot the covers and they run everywhere. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, 10 years later.
Wow. Oh,
yeah. Men's Health thinks you're incredible. They want to use you for the cover. I'm like, okay. And again, same drill. Let's see what you look like. Pictures, the whole thing, and shaving your body, and it's not fun. And did it again. They flew me to Miami Beach, working with an amazing photographer. There's 4 of us there. I thought, I'm done. Now last time it was 1 guy. This time I'm against 3 other guys. So we start at 6 a.m. Get it going, and I was in the shape of my life. Crazy good. And one by one, they started sending people home.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You look great, but you're too young for us. And I thought, well, why did they bring this guy here? But and I saw him. He was a younger guy. I said, look, buddy, I was there, and hang in there.
Right.
And then the next guy, sure enough, they're like, just not feeling it. Thanks for coming. You're amazing. So I'm still there. I'm thinking, this is insane. And the guy that I'm shooting with or against, if you will, he's drinking little plain bottles of red wine and fruit roll-ups. He's like, dude, have some of this. I'm like, what? He goes, oh, it'll evaporate and your arms are going to bang and you look great. I'm thinking, he's sabotaging me. He's going to make me drag a punch, and I'm going home. And and his veins were swallowing the whole thing. I'm like, and I was this close. I'm like, wow, maybe I should do that. And I thought, watch me drink that. And we didn't eat all day. We started at 6 a.m. and I'm barely walking like I did a marathon. I thought, watch me take a sip of that red wine and eat that fruit roll up, and pass out.
Right.
I didn't do it. So long story short, shot, blah, 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 did the whole thing, and I got my cover Men's Health.
Very cool.
It was awesome.
Good job.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
cool.
Great story.
Yeah.
But there's a lesson in that too. Perseverance.
Oh my God!
I'm
rejection.
sure a part of you didn't want to go because you didn't want to set yourself up again, and now you show up and there's 4.
No, I did.
You did.
I did because I thought, and I got it at 36
Yeah.
years old, and I thought, yeah, this is my last round here. I got to do it. And the good thing about that, Rogers, they stopped using male models for the cover of the U.S. Men's Health. They started using celebrities and athletes. So when I got that cover, I mean, my window was over. It was done. So that cover, that's ran in Australia and Spain and everywhere. I mean, it was great. So and what's good about that is it opened up doors for other commercial accounts because they give you a credit on the inside. And male modeling, they don't give you that. Girls have magazines all over the rack. We have 2 or 3 magazines maybe, and they gave us the credit. And I got a lot of work, and it was great for a while. But then 9/11 happened, and then all this work that was happening shut down because of the flying, and it was kind of a weird thing.
Where were you?
At 9/11,
Yeah.
I was in Houston on set in a catalog, literally shooting for a department store, and they kept shooting, and finally they realized this is bad. They're showing on the TV, and it's time to go home. Yeah, it was crazy.
Were you living in New York at the time?
No, I was actually in Houston.
Oh, you were. Okay.
I was going back and forth. I would
see.
go back and forth, but I was in. But that kind of put a halt to. I was riding high from being on the cover of Men's Health, as most Men's Health cover models will know. You get endorsements from a lot of, not endorsements, but you get a lot of fitness catalog work, and it was great.
That's a residual effect
Oh
of that.
yeah, it's great. It was all good because people think being on the cover pays a lot. It pays almost nothing, but it's the exposure you get. I mean, editorial rate they call it, as opposed to catalog. You make anywhere from $200 to $400 to be on the cover. That's it. But it's the exposure you get across the board. So people assuming that you're on this cover of a magazine that you're killing it.
That's what I would have thought.
No, I think I got $300 back then.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. So John, now you're working with a lot of up and coming models, if you will, and in some ways, or in many ways, do you feel like a mentor? What's the approach that you have? I had the opportunity to be a bystander to one of your shoots today, which was very interesting, very smooth. I could see that you're a pro, but how are you helping? How are you helping the person on the other side?
Mentor. I just, again, hope this doesn't sound arrogant. I wish I knew me when I was 20, because I had the yellow pages and kind of knew who agencies were. We didn't have the internet.
Makes sense.
See who was who,
Sure.
and you kind of heard from TV or that model, the famous people with that agency. So that's kind of how I knew who was where to go. So, and now people can look up on the internet who's good. So I kind of realized these kids have every opportunity to find out who's legit and who's good. But I definitely feel like a mentor or big brother in helping them miss a couple turns that I had to take. Whether it's spending money with a bad photographer or being led down a bad road. I gotta say, I never did that. I kind of had a good internal clock of if it feels bad, it is bad, and I kind of go, see you later. So I help them out. And sometimes they think it's too good to be true, because I'll say, here's what it is. You do need good pictures no matter what. You need good photography, and you get placed with a good agency, and then you have to pay to go on a website. It is what it is. The agencies make their money somehow still. And back when I started, you had to have a portfolio and pay for these prints to go in your portfolio. And we used to have a comp card. A comp card was a compilation of all your pictures on a card that you would leave behind with a client after you saw them. Now it's all on the internet. So, back I used to spend minimum $3,000 a year on new material just to be with the agencies. They don't pay for that. That's all out of your pocket. And now the kids might have to pay for a couple photography sessions and a website fee. The problem is, helping them out, they all want it instantaneously. Sure. They want to be stars. They're watching the Kardashians, or they're watching, my friend did this and he got Abercrombie and Fitch bag, he was walking through the mall. I'm like, yeah, it's great, but it's still work. Or the biggest problem is if they have to spend money, they think it's a scam. I'm like, and I try to help them out with that. So I do feel like I'm a mentor, but I do feel good about coming back home and helping. It's great to come back and see who really has the interest and seeing them follow through. And I apologize, I didn't answer your question correctly earlier. It is a sport. I look at the guys who are athletes. I say, look at the modeling agency as the baseball team you like, whether it's the Mets or Yankees, whoever. If there's good players on that team, they're a good team.
Right.
And if the manager's good, they're a good organization. It's no different with a modeling agency. If the people that are on that roster, girls and guys, are the ones you see in the magazines or the ones you see on the TV commercial, okay, that's a good team. I want part of that because they're getting booked. And then if the agent, the booker, as they call them, they're your booking agent, if they're good and legit and you enjoy them, that's the manager of the team. So it's a big kind of family thing. And that's why I try to, because a lot of the guys, like, I don't know about this modeling thing. I go, let's break it down as a sport. Look at the team roster, and if you like the roster, it's a good team to be on.
Right. No, so it sounds like you're paying it forward, if you will.
I enjoy it. It makes me feel good to find somebody and get them signed and see where they get to work. And I do. I take great gratification in it. I like it.
I noticed this young man today, you even mentioned there's no fees involved, which I found curious. I mean, he doesn't have to pay any fees to get up and running, or is there?
No. I mean, you pay for photography fees and whatnot, but to be with a modeling agency,
right.
You pay to be on their website. And that's just someone who's navigating new pictures and doing all the work. But now it's a whole social media game. In the modeling agencies, there's somebody hired now with every modeling agency who's managing the social media part. How many followers do you have on Instagram? I mean, there's clients in New York City or everywhere, they won't even see a model unless they have 5,000 or 10,000 followers. They want you to bring your cast of characters to the event. And that's causing a lot of pressure with the young girls who are 14. They have enough pressure as it is, high school, and I try to tell them just relax. It's all going to come, and they see the pressure. But my friend has 30,000 followers. I only have 3,000, and that's a pressure I didn't have to deal with. It's really, but it's a real thing, and it's not going away. So I try to help them say, it's all going to come. Don't think it's going to happen overnight, and it is part of the industry now, posting and showing what you're doing, and I don't love it. It's not, like I said, it's not going away. It's the nature of the beast, and agencies now under your face. If you pull up the website, here's my face, my name. It's got the number of followers I have on my Instagram. So if a client, say, again, I keep saying, or Calvin Klein or Dick's Sporting Goods, whoever, they're going, hey, we need a guy, and they'll say here, because there's fitness agencies where Dick's will hire from and Nike will hire from. If they see that you have 30,000 followers and the guy next to you has 2,000, they're going to probably book that other guy because he's bringing that, following with him.
So again, here we are. So technology has really changed the game in a big way.
Completely. Yeah. But even with what I do, I mean, I struggle because everyone's a photographer. Everyone's got a crazy good iPhone. And now the iPhone came up with a portrait app. And, oh, look, I'm like, wow, little by little, am I going to still work? So I still try to make it personal because you can't deny that. No, right. It's like a machine's a machine. So I do think I come in with that, and I do make the difference because Roger, I care. I mean, right. A lot of my buddies and so, what do you waste your time for with a person from off the turnip truck or whatever? I'm like, I care because I grew up in east side of Binghamton, and I made it happen. And if I can help someone get through that path a little smoother, it makes me happy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, what about your attitude, your positive attitude? How important is that in this industry? It sounds like there's a lot of rejection. What techniques have you had to either learn or teach yourself? Or
I mean, people who know me, I've always been a positive. I mean, like I said, I'm not like skipping around with rainbows and ponies every day. We all have problems.
Sure.
But I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I always look of what I'm going to accomplish each day. And again, not putting pressure on myself, but I always look like, hey, I'm up, I'm happy, things are good, and I spring out of bed. I don't, roll around in bed and, got to get up. So I get up and kind of have a pretty happy outlook every day. And rejection is crucial. Like I said, if rejection hurts and you can't take it, it's every day. And right. I get it on both sides still, between modeling and photography, rejected every day. But if it's a legit rejection, it's like, okay, if I see someone's work or whatever, I get it. I'm a fair player, but it does push me. But rituals, I work out. I mean, I exercise. Modification in my 30s, I was if I miss a day at the gym, I thought I was falling apart. I'd probably go to the gym 2, maybe 3 times a week now. I'd rather be outside. I live in Austin, Texas, so walk around the lake, being with nature, grab a kayak, be on the water. I mean, I enjoy that, but it's an interesting thing though, but it's exercise is crucial. And my diet's good. I mean, during the week, I'm pretty good with my diet. Weekend, I eat whatever I want and do my thing. So it's all about modification, but I definitely, like I said, I'm a good loser. I take rejection well, within reason.
Sure.
But I try to tell the new crop, they're having a harder time with it. And I
You
don't,
said they want that instant gratification.
yeah, and I don't want to throw the millennials under the bus. I love them, but it's more, I call it microwave modeling. They set that timer, and the hot dog's ready in 2 minutes, and if it's not ready and they're not famous, I quit. This sucks. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
So that's what I try to tell them. Or even like the gentleman I shot today, he's like, so when do you think I'm getting my first job? I'm like, let me get your pictures back first. Let me get him to the agency.
Right.
He's a great kid, but
Sure.
they all want it, like, what's next? Win, win, win. And then a quick story to ad-lib on that, or add to, this guy and girl, their boyfriend, girlfriend, I shot them both, and she started working immediately, and he didn't work. And he got mad at her because she was working, he wasn't working. I mean, they broke up. He got angry about the competition that she's working. I said, first of all, she's a woman. There's more work for girls, and you're a guy. And then I said, she's going on every casting that they called her on. And he said, well, they should look at my pictures on the internet. If they want me, they should just book me. I'm like, good luck with that. Yeah, you're out. So it's a fight. It's a struggle. You got to want it. You got to really want it. And obviously, I didn't know I wanted it. I kind of got into it in a weird roundabout way, but once I get in something, it felt good, and I kept doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What any other rituals you do on any practices that you prepare for your day?
It depends on the day. I mean, like I said, I'm a little more high strung than most, so if I'm not moving around a lot, I don't sit still well. If I don't shower every day, like first thing, it's like I can't even think straight. It's like, but I don't drink coffee.
You're showering.
You're showered. I get a green tea. I sit outside and I try to meditate. It's hard for me because I'm a little hyper, but I've learned that really helps, breathing techniques and just mellowing out and realizing, everything I used to worry about, and especially fear, and the new kids' fear is so crippling. I kind of got rid of all that because fear, there's someone who taught me fear, if you break down the letters F-E-A-R, it's false emotions appearing real. So then once you put those in your head, I mean, even like this interview, it's like oh my gosh, people get hyped up. I'm like, you're going to sit down and talk to somebody. What are you afraid of? This isn't fear. This is just hanging out and talking.
Right.
But they get it going, and once you plan it, it's like a snowball effect. It's like, oh, you're creating more fear. You're making it bigger than it is. So it's a false emotion. I've not sat down here yet. I'm downstairs waiting for you to tell me when to come up. So if your mind starts going, oh my gosh, same thing with auditions. People lose it on auditions, and I audition well. I go in and I always look like, hey, we're all here. We're all kind of take that anxiety and kind of work towards and have fun with it. But I don't. I mean, I have anxiety and fear a little bit.
Like everyone.
It's more, it's a little adrenaline. I call it adrenaline. It's not fear. I mean, if you didn't have adrenaline, you'd be dead.
Right.
So, but the fear is crippling. And I mean, people also say, oh, you're so lucky. Look at your career. You've been so lucky. I'm like, and I laugh. I'm like, lucky's like winning the Powerball.
That's right.
I wouldn't be sitting here. No,
right.
It's taking every opportunity you have and knowing your skills and really going for it. And if it doesn't work, it was meant to be. But really give it your all and don't be afraid of failure. People are afraid of failure. I've helped out so many people with photography or in the modeling world, and they're afraid of going. They get close and then they just stop, and it's a real thing. It's like it's crippling. They're afraid. It's like they're afraid of the success.
Right.
I kind of thrived. I mean, once you get over it, it's open. Just make it happen.
Right. So is there anything today that you're fearful of? Are you?
That's a whole other interview. No. In my industry,
Even outside of your industry, just in life. I mean, do you have any fears? It sounds like you deal with fear well.
I do. I wish I had a
business.
big, deep story to tell you. And I'm not a Peter Pan syndrome, like, oh, every day is happy and I'm living for the day. But I kind of do live for the day. I used to plan everything out, like, oh, where am I going to be in 5 years? And I should, and the biggest fear, people worry about money. Oh my gosh. I mean, when I started off, it's like, oh, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to be a model. How much money am I going to make? And you're done. The minute you start worrying about money, which, we all have to pay our bills and live. But, and I realized I don't need a lot to be happy financially. I mean, food, clothing, shelter, and great friends and family. But there was that kind of time where I thought, I'm not a big car guy. I lived in New York City for years. I rode the subway. So if, your status, if you're driving this car or you're wearing those clothes, and it's not who I am. Again, I'm wearing jeans and t-shirts and comfortable as I can be, and I love nice things. I love eating good food and drinking good wine, but it's I never worried about it, and I see the fear of the new group coming up. They need again, just from my experiences, they feel like they're not making it unless they have all these things. And I need, if I'm making it, I should be driving the Tesla, and I should be wearing Armani shirts and all that. I'm thinking.
So what do you tell these kids? I mean, what would you tell them?
You can tell them all day long, but it's. I mean, I have the wisdom to tell them, look, I've been there too, and I've literally lived all over the world. I've been on private jets, I've been on yachts, and it's like, some of these people with all that money, I don't want to have I wouldn't want to sit down and have a beer and a conversation with them if you paid me to, because they're miserable. I mean, not all. I mean, just from my experiences, that's why I love coming back home. I mean, sit me down in a booth and have some chicken wings and beer, and I'm happy.
Exactly.
It's real.
Right. And
I think that's what's helped me in my career, because I like to think I am real, and I was raised right, and manners get you a long way in life no matter what you're doing. And the fear is, like I said, that instant gratification, and the work ethic isn't there as much as it used to be. Whether you're modeling, being a photographer, it's instant gratification, and that is a part that makes me a little worried with the people in my industry.
So where does that work ethic come from? Your parents? Was this
Oh,
instilled in you at a very young age?
Sure.
I know you
my
mentioned
dad
McDonald's, but
my
even
dad
going
worked
back
at IBM for 40 years, like a lot of guys here in upstate New York and Binghamton. My mom worked her whole life, and I'm the youngest out of 5, and we all had jobs. And like I said, whether it's McDonald's or IBM, it's just the satisfaction of being part of society and doing your part, whether you're pushing a broom or flipping burgers, and take pride in what you do. But I always like working. I don't do well sitting idle. And I always say, if you're going to do it 100% or don't do it at all. Like, just do it. And that's another thing too. It's even with photography, people want it. Everyone's got access to a camera now. It's like, oh, I should be getting the instant gratification and making all this money, and they think that that's going to make them happy. And I've been very high in my career financially and very low, and I've learned more from the low than I have from the high.
Sure.
Big time. It's easy when you're kind of just sitting back. Oh, I'm better off when I'm a little bit in the struggle zone. It's weird, but I am.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you have some unique abilities that you've been able to tap into. Were these things that, again, you learned as you elevated in your career, or were you pretty grounded at a young age?
I would say grounded, and that's, again, thank my parents for that. And even when I started this industry, it wasn't like, oh, look at you and you're famous, and no, it's
a lot of hard work.
Right, but they appreciated what I was doing, but it wasn't like, wow, you're special out of the 5K. No, it's like, oh, cool, that's what John does, and this is what my other sister does, and
everyone has their own unique ability.
Yeah, and all work hard, but the work ethic and pride in what you do is from my parents for sure. Yeah, just instilled pride in what you do, and work ethic and morals pretty simple. But I took it for granted because that's how I was raised, but I see it around me now, and I feel like I am making a little bit of a difference with the kids, because this industry does have the stigma of just a little bit of sleazy and fast and quick buck, and I'm trying to help out and kind of guide, and but like I said, no matter what you do, the cream kind of rises to the top and the bad goes away.
Sure.
It does. It might be there for a little bit, but it goes away.
And it sounds like you've really been able to find your group of folks that are like-minded. Yeah. And you stick with those people, whether they're in Milan or in.
Oh, that was easy. Yeah. I mean, I had the ability to work with celebrity photographers, and again, I'm not saying any names, but I thought, wow, wouldn't this be the end all if I work with this person in Los Angeles? And I did. And I'm out there, and I lasted a week. I thought, he treats people poorly. Power trip, insecurity. I'm like, I'm out. And they're like, you're not going to stay? I'm like, I said, it's just not a fit for me. And I still I'm shooting celebrities and famous athletes, and it did come instantly, but I'm doing it. And I thought in my mind, working with this individual or other individuals like him or her would be, wow, wouldn't it be cool? I mean, growing up in Binghamton, New York, I think, wow, I'm going to be in Hollywood shooting celebrities. I'm like, yeah, that's great if you're around. I like being around good people. Sorry, right. It is what it is. And it was a grow up thing. That was about 10 or 12 years ago. And said, no, this isn't working for me. And they were blown away. Like, what do you mean you don't want to work with me? I'm like, I don't know what to say on camera here, but I said, I'm going to bow out gracefully like I was raised, and I want to tell them a few other things, but I thought just treating people poorly, I mean, really bad. I mean, power trip and swearing at them on set and this and that. I thought, It's just not who I am. Again, I'm not far from perfect, but I was raised right.
Sure. And today, it sounds like you've done amazing things as far as with celebrities, and you mentioned American Idol when we were talking off camera. And, I would think that you're at a point in your career where you could even make the celebrity feel at ease at home.
I do. First time I shot with a celebrity, I was nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And but they're nervous too. I turn.
Everyone's human.
Yeah, and again, I'm glad I didn't get this in my 20s and 30s. I got it later. The celebrity photography and higher end clients. It came later. I don't think I was mature or ready for it because I think I would have been starstruck. And I got to tell you, I kind of wasn't. I was like, okay, you're a person. I'm a person. I'm here taking. I would say, and we laugh. It's like we get back to the basics here. We're not curing cancer. I'm taking a photograph. Let's kind of dumb it down a little bit. It's a great craft. We all need it, but at the end of the day, I'm not.
And John, I love that humility. I mean, I'm seeing that more and more with people that I'm trying to associate with.
Yeah.
And it's just great to hear.
And don't you think that comes with wisdom? It comes with years, like I said. I don't think I would have been mature enough at 33 to be shooting, Olympic athletes and star. And as I got older, I'm like, yeah, this is great. But I also felt confident, like, yeah, I should be shooting them. I'm good.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I feel good about it, and it's a confidence level.
Comfortable.
And that comes with time. And so, yeah, I don't have that nerve. I treat, like, kid I shot today, what I did with him is exactly what I did with, say, Carrie Underwood or Greg Louganis. If I'm going to name drop.
Just being yourself.
And I'm like, and they're people. They're people with struggles and background and issues. And I try to make it light. I hate it when people hate their picture taken. Or actually, no, I don't hate it. They come in and they're panicking. Like, I hate this. I'm like, well, I'm not taking your tooth out. We're just going to take your picture. So lighten up a little bit.
Right.
And so, yeah, I do know when you ask who is John Conroy, I know I do have the ability to put people at ease. I do. And this has
a great quality.
And thank you. And I didn't know that until something like people hate their picture taken. It's like, oh, I hate this. I don't have this. And then I just kind of break it down and say, again, let's think about what we're doing. We're taking a photograph. We're not, changing the world.
Right.
And they kind of lighten up. And then some of them go, oh, wow, I really like this. Can we do more? I'm like, create a monster.
Sure. So do you feel that you are living at your highest potential right now, or is there more to come? Is there more to learn? Is it constant learning? Or in your field, do you think you reach a certain plateau and you say, okay, I'm at the top of my game?
I think, again, my opinion, I'm not speaking for other people, you got to constantly grow. If you're not growing every day, but I also got to realize if you get to a level of success, enjoy it instead of keep running for the gold ring. Just say, okay, take a deep breath. And it's hard to do that because it is a competitive industry, and there's always somebody said, do your job like someone's behind you ready to take it. And in my industry, it's very true. So and
you learned that early.
Oh my gosh.
With that men's health.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's such and forget it was like yesterday. But I've had stumbles in my life like we all do, and like you said, like the aha moment. And the first one is when I quit corporate world to jump into this. I thought I'm gonna, it's a scary thing when you're raised by a corporate world and you think success is, and nothing wrong with it, putting on the tie, going to work every day for IBM for 40 years, getting your pension. And I tried that. I did the corporate world after college and did it for like a year, and I felt like a robot. I felt like I was in an out-of-body experience, and I had no idea what I was going to do, but I just knew it wasn't going to be that.
It wasn't for you.
I just felt like when two magnets go together and it's like that negative charge.
Right.
It sounds dramatic, but I woke up every day really miserable and kind of depressed. And I remember going to a bookstore in a mall in Syracuse where I was working, and I asked the woman in the bookstore, do you have books on stress? And she looked at me, I was 22. She's like, what? I said, I'm kind of sure of a book on stress. And I'll never forget it. It's like in the book, I'll never forget it. It was called Stress for Success and Burning the Candle at Both Ends. And she looked at me, she goes, how old are you? I said, 22. She goes, oh man, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to stop because it's not working. And I laugh at this story today because I was serious as can be. I'm like,
but at that point in your life, you were stressed. You didn't want to do this.
No. And then when I had this opportunity to quit my job and go be a model in New York City, I thought, oh my gosh, what a failure I am to my family, because I'm the youngest out of 5. You go to college, you get your job, and this is against the grain. But the minute I took that leap of faith, everything else kind of, yeah. And it was, I mean, I had stomach aches. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna quit my job. My parents are gonna think I'm a loser, and you're going to New York to be a model, and but it's with elite models or Ford models. I'm signed with top agencies.
Try to justify it.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
They said, we support you.
That's great.
Go for it and knock it out. Go 100%. But back to your original question. And then in my early 40s, I remember lying in bed and seeing the ceiling fan turn, and my mom had passed about 6 months prior. And I've lost people, friends, and family members, but losing your parents is kind of your own. You check your own mortality. And I remember thinking, if this is all I have to offer to the world, am I living my true life and the true 100% of who I have to be? And it was like instantaneous, like, no, whether it was career, relationship, everything, I thought, this isn't right. And it was a great wake-up call. And again, I'm hard on myself, and most people would have said, it's okay, you're doing it. But I thought, this is halftime. I got a whole other half, or maybe more, to be a better version of myself. And not, again, this isn't putting pressure on myself. I knew in my gut, I was like kind of coasting, and it was going okay, kind of doing fine. I thought, and I just kind of put a little fire in my butt. And
you kicked it into high gear.
Yeah, it's time to shift some gears. And
wow.
Now, to answer your question, 10 years later,
You're doing it. You're living it.
Yeah.
You're going full steam.
Oh, and it wasn't easy. There was lows, but it got me up where I am. So that's what. Again, the lucky term. You're so lucky. I'm like, nope. It's listening to yourself, and don't let fear take over. Kind of go for it.
So today, is there a certain industry you enjoy more than others, as far as when you get a job for photography or modeling? I mean, what are your...
Oh yeah, I mean, I love being outside.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm outside, natural light and just lighthearted catalog shots outside at a beach, I mean, it sounds like, well, who doesn't like that? But
Sure.
A lot of people are studio geeks. They want to be inside a studio, lighting, the whole thing.
You like being outdoors?
Nah, I'd rather be outside, enjoying it. And I'm shooting a lot of food. I work for a lot of restaurants and revamping their menus.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big cook.
And Austin is, from what I understand, a wonderful foodie town.
It's a great place, and it's a lot of chefs have come there to kind of have their hip little version of what their big restaurant is. So and I love to cook, and I love the visual of plating. So I'll work with the chef, and we'll go back. And some chefs don't get it. I mean, I'm surprised they're artistic, but they'll slop it on and okay, take a picture. I'm like, no, there's layers to it, and here's this one, and what's coming out cold is last, and yeah, so it's a blast. I enjoy it. And back earlier on in food photography, they use a lot of chemicals like glycerin and things like that to make things look right, but I don't do any of that because I want to eat it when I'm done.
Right. Okay.
Things that make things shiny, I'm like, put some olive oil on that, or a spray bottle, or
Sure.
I kind of don't do that, so I can eat it when I'm done.
Are you a perfectionist?
Within reason, and and perfection also can come in with control.
Right.
I don't care what you do 24/7, and I don't control other people. I do control within a reason what. I mean, like I said, in my industry, I can control what I put in my mouth and what I drink and eat, because it's got to keep it together. I can't control if somebody likes me or not. So control and perfection. I make sure I give it 150% before I say, here's my name on it. So, and that varies. It's not always perfect, but it might be perfect at the time when I see it. And even with photography, sometimes I'm thinking, on location, do I need to drive another half hour to that location to get this shot? And I've learned, you know what, the light's good right here. I'm going to get it. But before, I'd say I have to drive another hour to get that light. I'm like, the light's still right here. It's all, we talked about American Idol. I shot Carrie Underwood in a bathroom stall. Yeah. I shot for American Idol, and they were on tour, and what I did for them is was down to the top 10 contestants. And then the top 10 contestants go on tour across America. So I'm at the Long Island Coliseum shooting the top 10. And this is right before Carrie. I mean, she won, but I mean, again, I wasn't intimidated her. She's a beautiful girl. She's amazing, from Oklahoma. Couldn't be nicer. And they said, we need portraits of her before she goes on stage. And I'm backstage, and they're getting ready in the locker room. And I'm looking around, and the bathroom stall had this great blue paint on the side of it. And she was cool as can be. And granted, it's the dressing room stall.
Sure.
And that's where I shot Carrie Underwood. My first shot was against the stall of a bathroom with the blue paint.
Incredible.
It. Yeah.
Who would've knew?
So that's made me realize you can get the shot. You don't have to be a perfectionist. It's like where I see a lot of people like, oh, let's bring in new blue paint. Let's go outside. I'm like,
Right. You're looking at, and I noticed today, which I really appreciated watching you work in action, and I noticed that you just kind of went with it, and you were looking around, you were looking at him, you were figuring out where the best angle was, the light, and you just did it, and it happened so fast.
Yeah, I do shoot fast, and sometimes I have to be careful of that because the client might think I'm not giving them the full potential of what they're buying. It's like, okay, to me, it's end result getting the shot, and I, good or bad, I'm fast, and I've done this for quite a few years, and I know angles, I know lighting, but if I overthink the shot, I'm not good at it. I kind of okay, and like today, I'm like, wow, we're at the studio, I'm like, the light's hitting that wall, beautiful, get over there, and good model will listen to the photographer, and you have this rhythm going back and forth, and you get it. And sometimes they don't, and it's like it's not working. But no, I just kind of, when clients hire me to shoot a product or a catalog, they definitely say, okay, we want this shot against that tree at that time. But and if it starts raining, guess what? We're not getting that tree shot. You gotta be flexible.
Right.
And I am. I kind of, again, it's photography. We're having fun.
Sure.
At the end of the day, let's just get the shot.
So, take us through this young man's opportunity. So what will happen with someone like him? You'll obviously get the pictures ready, and what will happen? Where will they go?
So the process is, I get emails every day from wannabes and and submissions, and it's hard. And like I said, I don't make up the rules. I just know what they're looking for. And I saw him, and a friend of mine that I went to grade school with sent me an email saying, "Hey, this guy works at my gym. What do you think? I know you work with fitness agencies, which is a whole other market than fashion. So there's
fitness agencies.
Yeah, modeling. Whether like Dick's Sporting Goods, Nike.
Okay.
People want fit people.
Under Armour.
There you go.
Yep.
They're based in Baltimore. They use a lot of the people I shoot for.
Okay.
So I saw him. Yep, he looks great. But after a while, the muscles, chest, whatever, and he's a good-looking kid from Binghamton. And I talked to him on the phone, very professional, and he seemed to really want it. He got it. He's going to do the work. And I said, just this isn't overnight. You got to stay looking like your pictures. You don't train for this photo shoot and go, let's get all the pizza we want and chicken wings and blow it. You got it's a lifestyle. And that's why you're a model. You're not. You got to stay looking like that. Right. And really good kid, good family, and but I said there's no guarantees. I'm going to get great shots of you, I think, and it's up to him. It's a rhythm. And he showed up, and he was amazing. He got it. He got direction. We got great shots. So the next step is, I go through them all. I give them to him to keep, but I submit him to the agency that he just signed with, because I got him with an agency. They pick the cream of the crop for them, upload him to a website, their website, and start marketing him to the clients, whether it be Nike or Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever. I see. But again, there's no guarantee.
And typically these companies, they have an idea, as you mentioned earlier, what they're looking for. So they're scrolling through all the pictures.
Age, body type,
right.
A height. So
someone may be looking for this young man today.
Where some people like more muscular, and see with women with the swimwear, they don't want them to have too long of a leg or long of a torso. It's a crazy industry. But the fitness agency, it's a little bit open more, because the women in fashion are basically walking hangers. They want them to not have a lot of muscle tone and a certain height. And then the fitness guys, you can be 5'9", 5'10" within reason.
Get away with it.
Where the fashion guys now are 6'2". If I started today, I'm only 6 foot. But back in the 80s when I started, it's like obviously 6 foot, whatever. But now the guys in New York City 6'2".
A little bit taller.
Yeah, but fitness is more of 5'10" and above.
I see.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for these up and comers? I may have already asked that question.
No, you did. It's more just kind of relax and don't expect instant gratification, and that's the negative with social media, because they all see. No one's posting bad pictures on Facebook or bad pictures on Instagram. They're showing the life of Riley and look how pretty I am that day and whatever, and they're trying to keep up with this stigma of like, wow, this is the life I'm supposed to have apparently, and that's not so great with me. So I tell them, look at it, but don't look at it. Even with me, I know my competition. There's great photographers out there, amazing, way better than me, but they may not be the marketing. They may not want to talk to the client. They're egotistical or whatever. So I tell them, don't compare yourself to everybody else. Be an individual. And again, it sounds cliche, but it's true. It's like, don't keep up with the Joneses. Be your brand. Be the best brand you can be, and get out there and, don't worry about rejection. I tell them, you're going to get turned down more than you're going to get jobs. And, just strap on the boots a little higher and keep going if you don't want to be in the business. If you take it hard, and that's what's hard with, young teenage girls. I mean, it's a nightmare. I mean, they're so competitive, and it's a tough time. And I'm real fragile with the young girls because I'm say, you don't really need to be a fashion model in New York City and live in Paris by yourself at 16. You don't need to do that. I mean, you can, but chill a little bit. So they think, and they burned out by 24 and their career's over. So it's an interesting thing.
Do you have any success stories with some of the young models you've worked with that have prospered?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was in Amarillo, Texas about 4 years ago. They brought me out there to shoot their new cream of the crop from this. What happens, Roger, is these smaller markets, whether it be Scranton, PA, or Rochester, they have agencies and they find people they want to promote to the bigger markets. They bring me into a lot of these cities and I'll shoot them because I have the expertise to place them and get the pictures ready because I know what the agencies are looking for. So I was in Amarillo, Texas, shooting this group of people. And again, I shoot actors too, so it's not all models. So actors and talent, singers. And I shot this kid, and great kid, nice guy, and a great family, and he's a twin. But he was like 5'8", and his brother is 6 foot. And they're twins. And
fraternal.
Yeah, and the younger one, great looking kid, actor. And I just saw the other one, I go, so Mom and Dad, what's going on with him? They said, oh no, he's our jock in the family. He plays football, and he had a rack of braces in his mouth. And I usually am pretty good, but I was like, this kid's got something, and I'm just not going to ruffle feathers. And I said, I think he could be a model. And they're like, oh no, he's a jock, he's a football player. Let it go. 2 years ago, I get a call from the family. He graduated high school, braces are out, he's kind of kicking the tires. He thinks he wants to be a model. I'm like, okay, I haven't seen him in 4 years. They sent pictures. I'm like, okay, I think he looks great. Let's do a photo shoot. And then got him to Miami Beach. The family was dedicated. They took a spring break with the kid, got him signed by a top agency in Miami, which is a satellite of LA, New York, Milan, London. Okay. And they worked on his book, meaning 3 photographers shot him. He really manifested, got his book up and coming. Book meaning is just, shooting someone's portfolio. The eye of several different photographers, and I got him started. But again, I have one vision, what I see, and any good photographer will say, I did my part, go see this photographer, because we all see something different. And that's what builds a well-run portfolio. That's why when I said earlier, these guys or girls will say, give me $2,000 to shoot your portfolio. I'm like, run, right. You gotta, get with everybody. So he signed with an agency in New York and went back, finished high school. And I said, okay, Mom and Dad, he can't stay in Amarillo. He's got to go to a bigger market. And they said, well, he's going to start college in Dallas. Got him wrapped with the agency in Dallas. And he started doing, the J.C. Penney's, the whole thing. And a famous photographer, his name is Bruce Weber. I mean, iconic. He shoots, Ralph Lauren and Calvin Klein and Abercrombie. He's celebrities. He's amazing. He was coming through Dallas, and he saw his picture and said, he traveled through and wanted to see who the new kids on the block were, guys and girls. And he found this kid that I found, and a week later he flew him to the Hamptons to shoot for Italian Vogue magazine. Brought him back for another magazine. So I'm what they call mother agency. So I'll place people with the top agencies, and then I work with them from there. So he signed with Ford Models in New York last month, and he's actually going to be there next week. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see that happen. Wow. I have probably 20 kids that I have done it with, but he's the most recent one. He's going to be a star. He's definitely got it, and he wants it. He's mature. He's 20 years old, and yeah, amazing.
And again, that must make you feel good. You planted the seed.
Yeah.
Came back several years later.
Yeah, and it does.
And here we are.
Yeah, and the parents are phenomenal. His brother's an actor, so everybody's happy.
That's great.
And then Ford in New York was like, wow, thanks for putting us on the radar with him. Find more people. So that's what I'm trying to do here.
Right.
If I'm from here, if the guy this morning's from here, there's a lot of guys and girls here. So that's what I'm going to try to help out more.
And the world has become smaller, right?
Oh yeah. And the looks are different. My gosh, and what was in last year? Classic looks and beauty stays. I mean, it's timeless, but and I'm kind of better at scouting that than the new flavor of the month. I can see it, but I know it's going to be gone in a year. And I'm more of developing a relationship and a career. I mean, because that's what I know. I mean, I've been doing it for almost 30 years. And like I said, I've never been in, but I've never been out. I'm always like, oh, let's get the guy who looks like that, and it's been good.
Right. So it sounds like earlier in your career, you burned the midnight oil. You were working very, very hard. Today, it sounds like you're taking some time for yourself. You're doing some kayaking. You like the outdoors.
Absolutely.
How important is the, self, the time for yourself to improving your career, no matter what industry you're in?
Yeah, and it's hard to find that because I'm self-employed, and it's like being in sales. You're only as good as your last sale, and you gotta enjoy the moment of when you're in a kind of a role. Things are going good on both sides. I'm getting good modeling accounts still, and photography's going great, but you feel like if you take time out, you're gonna keep missing out on the work. And I stopped doing that. I'm like, it's gonna be there. Again, don't worry about the money. It's gonna be there. It's all, and the fear of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off. And I told my clients I'm gonna take a couple weeks off, and if something major comes up, let me know. But it was hard for me to do that, but it's mandatory.
Even now?
Was hard.
Hard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here enjoying my time home with my family and enjoying Binghamton. I haven't been here before. I pop in and out for a 3-day weekend and try to see everybody. I'd leave more stressed out than I was. I'm like, I'm supposed to come back and relax and see my family. I'd leave going like ragdoll, pulled every which way.
Right.
So now I'm like, I'm gonna chill and enjoy it, and it's all gonna work out.
That's great. Good. So we've talked about it all. This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
Very interesting industry. So what do you want your legacy to be as you go into this next phase of your life? Is what you're doing now, do you see yourself doing this for the next 20 years? Or where do you want that to...
I'm working more in the development and helping talent, because it's a weird thing. As weird as the industry gets the bad rap, people are fascinated by it, and I didn't realize. I'll be on an airplane and I try not to talk about what I do, because the minute you say it, the iPhone comes out and here's my granddaughter, here's so and it's interesting because it is people are fascinated by it. They whether it's they want to, there are some downsides, but people are fascinated because they don't know about it enough. So I'd like to educate people more about it, because I didn't realize the knowledge I have until recently. People say, you should write a book, you should do that.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Any aspirations?
I think so. And I didn't feel that until like past 2 years, because you think, what, Roger, you just do the work.
Right.
I woke up, I'm like, how'd I get here? I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and it just happens. And you realize you are knowledgeable. You have done it. When people say, oh, I talked to this person, this is what it's like in Italy when you model. I'm like, have they modeled in Italy? And like, no. I'm like, okay, I have, and this is what it's like over there.
Sure.
Or so-and-so said this is what it's like to be back to the cover Men's Health. And like, have they been on the cover? No,
right.
I have. So I didn't realize until now. It's like, wow, I've gathered up all this knowledge and wisdom and experience. So I didn't. And again, it sounds like you're arrogant, like, oh, I know everything. I kind of feel like I have something to get back now, and I think it would be good to do it in some form. And even this platform, just to tell people, what the industry really is. I'm very honest about it. And
sure.
But yeah, so I think writing is in my future.
That's great, John.
Never thought that.
If you could take all of your knowledge and experience, condense it in a book, in a blog, and we'll allow, we will love for you to do a short blog for us, and we'll put it up on the website.
Thank you.
Give a little bit more detail, but that's what this platform is all about, is allowing guests like you to provide information to the world.
Sure.
And hopefully someone is listening in Hong Kong or in Haiti, and may learn something from this and get inspiration and basically, as we said, pay it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot easier to be nice. I've learned that. And again, I knock on wood, I've not been that guy, but anger is a crippling, is crippling as fear. It's like, it's not, and jealousy. I don't have that. And I see jealousy and anger and insecurity, and I think that's why I've had this career, because if the next guy got it, more power to you. But mine will come. So I don't have that in me.
And it's a very cutthroat industry. So you talk about jealousy. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure, again,
Oh,
you've
yeah.
seen it all.
Oh yeah, it all comes around. It's all like the laws and karma, and you just got to keep fighting. And again, it's not for everybody. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I knew once I got in, I'm like, I got this, and I'm gonna do what I got to do. Like anything, whether it's a sport or a career, you climb to keep doing it. And, I'm a brand, I'm a product. You got to stay with it. And if you don't want to, and I have guys my age like, oh, I can't believe you're still in that, and forget about it. I'm just gonna, do what I want to do. I'm like, yeah, but it's working for me. So you do what
And it's
you
your
want to
passion, right?
do. It is now, yeah. I feel I like what I do. It sounds great. I wake up, I love what I do. I feel very fortunate, and I'm not going to say lucky. I'm very fortunate because I took the tools I had, and it didn't happen overnight. They kind of kept going and going, and again, I couldn't get arrested in certain markets.
Sure.
And thought, well, it's time to sell my cameras and polish up my resume from my college days. But I'm like, yeah, it happened. I was this close to throwing it all in, but there's that inner voice saying, nah, this is what you need to do. Just, you're in a bigger slump than you used to be, but it's all transition. You figure it out.
And you're living it, and you're loving it. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We'd love to have you back if you're ever back in town. We will definitely follow you from here and post to our fans what you're up to, and hopefully we could get together again.
Be happy to. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thanks.